stems here, and it's got a little bud like right
You're
here,
like poking it.
like right
Oh, yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You'd want it
you
to
go.
prune right up top there to get it to grow that way.
Right.
I love
There's your
the
scientific.
visual.
What's up, good plant people? Mario here in the Surfscape Design Studio with a special somebody. I've already kissed the ring. The Don is here in the studio. Thanks for being in here.
No problem. It's been a crazy week up here in Atlanta, so it's
I know.
exciting.
I'm so excited. You get to be here.
Be
Okay.
in the pretty
Now,
area.
it's so much better because we have been talking plant. We've been talking plants. We're going to talk plants all day, but we got some special what's growing on. But first, we have to recognize Katya's not going to be here today, but we are moving on with the millennial makeover maven herself, Michelle. You are looking so nice today. I am so glad to see you. I missed you.
It's great
Thank
seeing
all.
you. I know. I missed our chat last week. I'm glad we're back on.
I am so glad, and we all need to get together very, very soon.
Yes.
We need to get back together. So I miss the whole Plant Nerd crew, but we got a lot of fun things we're going to talk about. So, Devin, I'm going to start with you.
Cool.
What is growing on?
So last weekend, it's exciting. I'm down in North Florida, and been looking at the weather, and spring's happening down there. Pollen is on the cars. I mean,
Gross.
spring
yay.
is there. So I went ahead and planted my vegetable garden. I planted tomatoes. I planted my potatoes. I planted beans, carrots,
That's
celery. I planted some seeds for zucchini, squash, and then my favorite, my white pattypan squash. They look like white little UFOs.
Yep.
My
Yeah,
mom
those are
absolutely
cute.
loves those. And
Do you
last
pickle
year,
them?
no, we should try that. My mom fries them and cooks them, and she absolutely loves them because her grandmother used to make them, and my granddad used to grow them, but she can't grow them. She's tried, and I grow them, and it's just
You're such a good son.
yeah. So I grow them and bring them up. So it's exciting. I got to plant my vegetable garden, so I'm excited. Things are growing down there.
So,
It's
how many
February 16th. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
we're about a month ahead.
month ahead?
We're about a
That's
month
all right.
ahead, so month and
sounds
a
right.
half. So because
Okay.
we're zone 9.
Zone 9, you're Tallahassee.
Yep.
Zone 9. Okay. What else are growing on in your vegetable garden? You got everything going. What are you doing in the garden now to protect and care?
I mean, I don't really. If it gets cold, I do have frost cloths, so I will cover the tomatoes. But other than that, everything should be fine. I mean, the potatoes will take a couple weeks to come up. The carrots are going to take a few weeks to come up. I am going to try to plant some corn this weekend because corn comes up pretty fast. So I've still got to weed those 2 beds. I'm working on that New Year's resolution. So,
Yeah.
but I'm going to try to get that done this weekend. But
I think
mean,
it's so pretty, corn in the landscape.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough landscape designers actually playing with these seasonal vegetables.
and I have this really cool corn, and we'll share it in
Do the fancy.
Well, no, it's this purple corn, and the whole plant is purple and has purple ears, and then it's
That's
white.
cool.
When you peel it, it's white corn. It's really
But the
cool.
leaves are purple?
The whole plant is purple.
Stop.
Yeah,
What is this magical secret variety that you grow?
I cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head, but we will post it when we talk
We will
about
post it,
It's an old heirloom variety though, so it's not been
That's awesome.
messed with. It's from the early 1900s.
But isn't it interesting though that we do seasonal annuals, and I know that people love pansies and all these kind of things, and I get it. They think it's pretty. But when you see something exotic and
Yeah.
interesting, why not? We have purple corn growing at
A backdrop to screen out the fence.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, just at the entrance of an HOA, or a big
That could be
subdivision.
cool.
Why can't we do that and make it look pretty and edible and fun and educational?
It's just up to
Can you
people.
do it?
I would think so. My whole backyard
Does
is.
somebody else want that? Can somebody validate me on a comment?
I agree. I mean, we should have. I'm a big believer in an edible landscape. Either plants, we should have food right there. I mean,
Yeah.
I love it.
So we're going off topic, but you're right. I did see somebody. There's this movement called Foodscaping. Company is doing a lot of community rallying around community engagement around this. And my career, kind of studying this in academia, real smart brain.
Academia.
I think that the whole industry should really use this word, food producing landscape design.
Yeah.
I know that's more of a
Or
mouthful.
foodscape.
Well,
Foodscape,
yes,
right? For
and
sure.
foodscaping for short, but because when we say urban agriculture, it really does put a geographical limit to what it is. So it's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm in suburbia.
Yeah.
Can I not do
Right. That's not
that?
foodscaping.
Right. So I'm very encouraged by this foodscaping movement.
Yeah,
I think we need to see more of it.
a couple plants. Corn may be a little bit harder to plant in the front of an HOA, but some plants that would be great would be
No.
blueberries. A lot of compact blueberries out now.
That's true. They're cute ones.
Fall colors. You get blooms in the spring. They're green all season. Their fall color is stunning. Why not
Yeah.
plant blueberries around the neighborhood sign instead of boxwoods?
Yeah.
And
I'm for it.
strawberries would be a great ground cover. That's nice and green. They're
No, I'm
stick around
vetoing
and it's
strawberries.
a little fun.
Strawberries take over like crazy. At least in my
Well, if
yard.
it's a neighborhood though, and it's in the concrete.
I guess. Yeah, if it's in concrete, then
Yeah.
fine. Yeah. Sorry.
All right.
Sorry, not to poo-poo on the foodscape.
We're all over the place.
I
Michelle,
know.
what is going on with you?
Okay, I'm not talking about anything edible. I'm going to talk about another of your five senses, which is the scent of smell. Because I swear I step out into my backyard and it smells like a Parisian perfumery, if that's the right word for it. But I have Edgeworthia. It sounds right, right?
Yeah.
Kata, maybe you can add a comment and validate. What is the right word for a perfume store in Paris? But the Edgeworthia and Daphne just started opening up. So I planted a itty bitty Daphne a few years ago and it's finally like starting to grow on and it's incredible. It smells so good back there. So I definitely I understand why people sometimes leave comments on some of my videos to say like, well, does it have a fragrance? And I'm like, okay, now I get it because it's very nice.
Okay, so question for you. This is one thing I've always heard, and it kind of to me smells like it, but I don't want to spoil it. What does Daphne smell like to you when it blooms?
To me, it just smells sweet. Is there something not?
Everyone always told me Daphne smells like Fruit Loops when it blooms.
Oh,
Which
now I'm gonna have to go back out and validate, but like it was just very
we
sweet.
we can check the comments from everyone below to see what they think.
Yeah.
But that's always one thing I've heard. They're like, it smells like Fruit Loops, and it kind of does. So
Okay, all right.
I love it. Any other? So you said Daphne, Edgeworthia. Any other smells? Beautiful perfumeries?
I have a couple of fragrant daffodils, but I don't feel like I could smell it across the yard. Like if I come right up to it, or if you're cutting it for a bouquet, like yes, but I don't know. I'm gonna be looking for more of those like the whole yard smells like perfumery instead of chicken.
speaking of fragrances, and just to be a little obnoxious since I'm in North Florida,
Okay.
but for me, it'll be coming up here in a few weeks.
Plumeria.
The tea olives are blooming. I picked up
Tea olives,
I picked
yes.
up like 10, 15-gallon tea olives last week for work, and I drove up to Atlanta with them in the van, and it smelled so good the way up, just smelling those tea olives the whole way up for like 5 hours. It was
They're
great.
so good. I feel like it's just getting me ready for spring. Like
Yes, that's the awesome thing about Daphne and the Edgeworthy is you know all these other things are coming.
yeah, like it's
And so in Atlanta, what zone we are now? 8. And so we got cherry trees are starting.
Yes.
The daffodils are coming. Daffodils to me have always been the marker
yeah, they are.
of the season, and it's just it's time to hang up like that winter coat. Maybe
Yeah, yeah.
you're like, are we over?
Like-
But we're gonna get one more freeze.
Yep.
For sure, always. And people are gonna like make their ghosts shrubs, like the hydrangeas are gonna be all covered up in sheets. But like hellebores are too early. Like I love
Yes.
seeing them, but they're not like
It's like
not
the
the sign
end
of
of
spring.
you're getting to the end of winter. I always think of the
yeah,
hellebores.
exactly. But it's not
So-
like the groundhog shadow thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other plant I always like to look at, and I kind of know spring is on the way, you know it's coming, is when you see the forsythia bloom.
First, yeah.
That is like that is because it blooms a little after the daffodils, and once you start
Yeah.
seeing that forsythia bloom, you know spring is coming.
And
That's
so much
when
of
they
that
see-
to me is it's like Easter. Easter
Oh,
is
yeah.
an essential sort of holiday
Yep.
for my family about blooms.
Yep.
About that spring.
Dogwoods, forsythia, winter jasmine. So
Oh man, we what we got to do is we got to get out from this studio. We got to do some plant walks.
Yeah.
We got to do So
We do. We'll have to plan that. Okay. Do I need to ask you what's growing on, Mario? Like what's growing on over
yes,
there?
yes, I would appreciate that because
Okay,
I don't like
okay.
telling asking myself because.
So Mario, what is growing on with you?
So I have a lot of perennials in my garden, and I am doing a fruit trees in my front yard, and I have a little white picket fence. I didn't, it's very traditional, and what I want to do along the fence because it's a postage stamp front yard. It's not very big, and I want fig trees and apple trees, and I have some blueberries going, but for the fig trees, they're going to get so big, right? So
Yeah.
I planted them right up against the post of the fence. I have two, and I can't remember the variety right offhand, but I'll get that information. And I haven't pruned it yet, so it's about 5 feet tall,
Okay.
and the fence is only about 3.5. So now I need to prune the fig in a way in which I can kind of do an espalier. So I want to train the branches along the laterals of the fence.
That's
Okay.
cool. You're getting fancy.
So I really needed a refresher on how to prune.
Yeah.
So we're gonna ask Plant Nerd AI.
Oh, I love it.
Let's just do that now.
Yeah,
since we're here.
for sure.
Let's do it.
So
Because I was like thinking, I was like, this is going to be a hard prune, like, but I think we need to consult the
Plant Nerd
the
AI.
AI experts.
So here it is. I just said very quickly, I went to Plant Nerd AI, which somebody hilariously asked me, it was like, who's this Plant Nerd Al guy? Which I was blown away by how cool that was. I was like, this
Plant
person
Nerd
thought it was
Al.
Plant Nerd, Al.
Al is sitting behind
Al,
here,
yeah.
typing you back.
Man, he's... So let's ask Al, the Plant Nerd.
Yes.
So I just simply said how best to prune figs, and here we go. Okay, pruning fig trees is an important task to ensure healthy growth and fruit production. Here's best to prune. Timing. Prune your trees during the dormant season, typically late winter. So we're in the
Yeah.
perfect season,
That's great.
right?
Yeah,
We
I
all
think
agree?
so. Mm-hmm.
Perfect season.
Yep.
This is not actively trying to grow. It makes it easier for the structure of the trees. And one of the things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bending some
Yep.
of the branches now, and then
Yeah.
securing it. I'm using binder's twine. I don't know if that's the right. I guess could you
That-
really use anything?
I really like this. You can order it off Amazon. It's this coated wire. So it's wire and it's coated in rubber so that it holds it's really easy. You don't have to worry about tying. You just twist it. And man, that stuff is awesome. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going
We're
check
gonna have
that
to have
out.
the link and put it in the show
Yeah,
notes
I'll
for
get the
others
link
that are
in.
like,
We'll put it in.
yeah.
Okay, tools, sharp cleaning shears or loppers for small branches, hygiene, sterilize your tools, assessment, start by assessing the tree structure, look for dead, dying, diseased branches, and just remove those first. Shaping them, maintain a natural shape, which I'm not doing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a natural shape.
No,
Naturally flat.
Naturally flat, forced. I'm really imposing my will on this
You
fig
are.
tree.
you're the designer.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So productive wood, since figs produce fruit on new growth, you want to encourage this. So prune older branches to stimulate new growth where the fruit is formed. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Michelle?
Yeah, I swear some varieties bloom on both though. So I'm like, I almost want to sit here and Google just to confirm, but
Yeah.
this
Wants
is my
to be
Googling
smarter
phase. I want to
than
Google.
Al. He wants to be
Let's-
smarter than Al.
Hold on, please hold.
Yeah, Okay, height control. Necessary harvest the root. Cut back to a bud that is facing the direction that you want the new growth
That
to
was
grow in.
one thing I was going to say on
Yes.
that is.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Mhm. I was going to say when the
So
pruning.
I'm going to say it again just because there's a little bit there. Cut back to a bud that is facing the direction that you want the
That's-
new growth to go.
So
That's
like when
legit.
the stem's here and it's got a little bud like right here,
You're like poking it.
like right
poking
there,
it.
Yeah.
you'd want it
You
to
go.
prune right up top there to get it to grow that way.
Right.
I love
There's your
the
scientific
visual.
reason.
Laura,
There you go.
I pray that you find a better expl- So, thin out crowded branches. One of the things I've always been told is if you got the tree here and you have a branch that's kind of like going back,
Going back
over the front of the
in.
tree,
Yeah.
get it out of there.
Yeah. You don't want any crossing.
Or
The
like
vase shape, right? Like you want the outer
We're
and
going
then
flat.
Yeah.
We're going flat base.
Oh yeah, we're going flat. Sorry, that doesn't apply here.
I'll share some pictures of some different espalier. There's a lot of different patterns in
Yeah.
espalier.
There's
Oh my
cool
god. The
shapes.
diamond.
The diamond ones are the cool ones.
Espalier pyracantha is the coolest thing to me ever.
But I feel like you
I
have to
was
whack
gonna
it back
say-
to like a foot tall and then start.
Yeah. I mean,
Like you decapitate it basically.
since you want to espalier Mario, the biggest thing I would do, because now that we've talked about this, it's jogged my memory. I did espalier a pomegranate on the side of my house, and I started with a little 3 gallon, and just choose like 3 or 4 main branches you want to keep that are kind of like the strongest, and then kind of whack everything else off, and then that's how you'll get it to fill in. So you want to choose just like 3 or 4 of the strongest branches, and then you can snip the tops where you want to do
Right.
the top, and then it'll start laterally growing out and filling
Right.
in.
That's pretty much what I did too. But I went to Pikes and I found a couple of trees that had like 2 lateral branches at a similar height. And then like started from there. And eventually other things will grow out. So you just pick the ones that actually work. And then the rest you just
And
But-
my pomegranate's full of the whole espalier trellis that I put it on. It
Really?
took it 2 years, and it's filled out the whole trellis now. So
Wow.
that's
I have an
cool.
espalier citrus on the back of the house too.
I'm 0% shocked.
We
Are
are.
you?
We have all this Parisian stuff. going on.
We're very fancy today.
If only we had Kata with her proper European terms.
All right, 2 more and then we're done. All right, remove suckers growing at the base.
Okay.
We know about that. And then one of the things here is limit the pruning. Do not remove more than 1/3 of the tree's branches in a single year. Now, I only have like 4 branches. So, is that 1.5? I mean, is that okay? If I keep 2, I think we're okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just a general good rule of thumb on any plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My only experience pruning a fig is cutting it to the ground, and it grew right back.
It was fine.
I think you'll be okay on the fig to
Okay.
prune more than 1/3.
Fair enough. So, bigger question is, all right, we learned how pruning figs, but there's so much other stuff that you want to prune. And then I remember, like, every time my mom was like, cut that back. I was like, Mom, February, just wait till February.
Yeah.
February is the magic month, or at least for Georgia Zone 8, for you to prune. And now she's calling. I'm like, well, Mom, sorry, I'm busy. Like,
My mom said the same thing to me last night. She was like, "Can you come out here and prune the roses for me?" I was like, "Nah, I'm too busy and tired. Not happening."
I was just giving you the good son compliment, Devin, and now you're too busy for her.
take a minute.
Sorry, Mario's mom and Devin's mom.
Yeah.
My dad's so picky he won't let me prune anything. He's like, "Stop touching it, you're killing it." And I'm like, "No, it's good for it."
Well, that's why my mom's afraid to prune back the roses. She's like, "I'm gonna kill it." I'm like, "It's a rose. You
You
can't."
cannot. Yeah, they're so yeah.
So, anyways, that's the question. What's the
Okay.
question?
What are we pruning this time of year? It's February. Things are
Yep.
starting to wake up, bud up.
Yeah. What? Hey, Al.
Hey Al. Hey Al.
Tell us what's the good time to prune certain plants in February to ensure healthy growth for the oncoming season. All right, here we go. And it's suggesting summer flowering shrubs. So prune for shape and remove dead, diseased wood. This will, because they typically bloom on new wood.
That's
Okay.
dead on.
That
Hydrangea,
sounds but not macrophylla because those are
Yeah.
spring blooming. So not the blue and pink blooming things.
the cone-shaped ones.
The coney shaped or Annabelle.
Annabelle's.
Annabelle's are summer.
Cool.
And I
Fruit
think
trees.
fruit trees.
Prune. Prune to open up the canopy, which allows for better air circulation and light penetration.
Yep.
There you go.
That's perfect. Because then you can see, too. That's another reason why you want to prune
Yeah.
the fruit tree in the winter. when
And you
it's
can
starting to
reach
heat
it.
up. Yes.
Yeah. And so a lot of the fruit trees will put on about a foot or two
Oh
worth of
yeah.
growth.
They're
And so,
huge, yeah.
try to get it. I don't want to reach my hand in case I have sweaty pits, but like prune it, um, prune it 2 feet below what you can reach, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what I was gonna
Devin, do you want to be the tree so that you can demonstrate
Right.
how to prune?
I pass a peach orchard on my way down to Tallahassee every single time, and it's crazy. It's a
Yeah.
peach orchard, and they keep those things pruned so that their guys can reach to pick them. Everyone thinks fruit trees got to get 15 feet tall. No, I mean you
No.
want to keep those pruned down so you can reach
But
it.
but also like it makes the trees kind of ugly. Like fruit trees, I feel like when they're pruned right, they're not pretty, but you get like tons of fruit that you can actually reach instead of just your squirrels.
Unless you espalier it, I guess.
Oh, that's true. Back to the espalier, it all comes back.
I like the espalier. I'm going to try it. I've done it for clients. This is the first time I'm doing it for myself. I'm super excited. Okay. Roses. We talked about roses. Cut back before they start to leaf out to promote healthy new growth.
That's it. Whack them back.
Do you spray them but this time of year? Sir Rose King?
I wouldn't. It's a waste to me. Wait till
Okay.
they started pushing out leaves. I fertilized all mine last weekend.
Oh, look at
They're waking up
you.
already. I'm probably gonna spray them this weekend. So I usually wait for them to get some new growth on it before you spray them.
For sure. Okay, sorry, Mario. We got distracted.
No,
Roses.
I'm
What's
curious
after?
what you're spraying for.
I'm just go ahead and spraying them to keep. Mainly right now it's funguses. It's still too cold for insects, so I'm just spraying them for like copper, so that because it's been rainy and it's already starting to get Florida humid down there.
Florida.
So.
Do you endorse a certain?
What I endorse is probably not the best, most organic thing ever, but I use Rose Shield on mine. It does fungus and insects. It's not
I'm
organic.
just putting you out there so that all your other
Yeah,
people
they can send the hate to
attack
me,
you.
but
Yeah, we just.
I use the 2-in-1 every 6
What
weeks.
else? What else?
We'll give you
I keep mine radioactive, so.
We're gonna put your address in the show notes so that hate mail goes directly to you.
Directly
But
to
I'm
Devin.
gonna use copper right now. I'm not gonna use any of that stuff yet.
And you don't
but-
need much, right? You're
Yeah, no, I don't. That's the only thing in my yard I spray is my roses, just because it's for them to be pretty. You just gotta
It's
do it.
so true.
Even up here in Atlanta, at my
Yeah.
mom's house, I always sprayed them with Rose Shield, and it works so good. It works
It
so
does.
good. So it's
does.
just like everything else. I got plenty of other pretty flowers for all the bees and everything to go to. So, and I don't feel like bees really even go to roses very much.
I don't know, maybe the more open ones, but
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to ornamental grasses, it's saying go ahead and start cutting back some of that
Yep.
dead foliage, encourage new growth.
Makes
You've
sense.
enjoyed it. It's had its time for shelter for the birds and everything.
Yep.
And now probably new.
Time to
Put it to
give them a
pasture.
haircut so they look nice and neat for next year.
Yep. Perennials. Clean up any remaining dead foliage from last year's season's growth to promote new growth. And also, I think now's the time to move perennials, right? Is
No,
that
now's
fair?
a great time to transplant. Not just perennials. I mean, next week we should probably talk about transplanting, but shrubs, perennials, anything right now is the time to transplant.
Deciduous trees. Prune while they're still dormant. Remove any dead, damaged, or diseased branches.
I remembered something, and maybe Honey is also chiming in, but now is a great time to cut forsythia or like cherry blossom branches if you want to force them inside. So if they're starting to bud up, you cut them and then you put them in water indoors and they'll explode for you instead of spending $10 at Trader
That is
Joe's.
a great idea. I've never done that before.
It's so much fun.
I'll have to import some from Atlanta.
I want to see that. So, what are they gonna? You're gonna cut them this week or next week, and then you're gonna bring it inside.
Yeah, and then you just put them in a vase. I mean, I probably won't have pictures for the show notes, but it takes a little while for them to open up, but then they'll just basically open up indoors faster than they would outside.
Love it. Love it. I think Al got a few
Yeah.
of those right.
No, he hit everything perfect.
Yeah, that was awesome. I can't think of something that I missed.
No, I can't think of anything either.
We'll go over this again, but make sure to do you do the hygiene on the tools and clean them.
I mean, yeah, especially when I'm pruning my roses.
Roses, only for roses. Everything
Yeah,
else, I'm
mainly
like,
roses. I'll do it with my citrus too, just
oh,
so
you
I don't.
do?
Yeah, just because I have so many of them. If there's anything, I don't want to spread it around. But yeah, I just alcohol, just what like I just have a bottle of alcohol. I squirt on a paper towel and just
Oh,
wipe
I
it
use
off.
bleach. Am I supposed to use alcohol?
I don't know.
Huh.
Bleach scares me.
Well, it's like a diluted.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, bleach would be fine. I just use
Yeah,
rubbing alcohol.
Nothing will survive
that's
that.
better. You can't like mess up your
That's because
clothes.
that's what I use to spray like my vegetable garden. Everything else when it gets bugs, it gets sprayed with a diluted alcohol.
Really?
I think my citrus, if I get aphids, alcohol takes care of
Those are the
everything.
worst.
But alcohol will knock those suckers out. You can literally watch them just fall and die when you spray them. It's so satisfying.
That's so satisfying. You're just, Devin, you're just killing all kinds of things this episode.
Stay off my citrus. It's mine.
Back off.
It's great.
But I really don't really get an issue with it. Was mainly when it was in the greenhouse. I'd have a really bad aphid problem. Now that they're outside and they don't go in a greenhouse anymore, they don't. I honestly maybe have sprayed 1 or 2 plants with it down there. But when they were in the greenhouse, I was spraying alcohol at once a month, the whole thing,
Oh,
just to
wow.
kill all the aphids. Because when they were in the greenhouse, they'd always get aphids.
Do you have a fancy
For like
pants
a-
like power sprayer, or you're just
I do a pump sprayer.
the pump?
Yeah, the pump
yeah,
sprayer,
okay.
a 2-gallon pump sprayer.
There you go.
All right. So
Okay.
we're wrapping up. We got one more plant nerd. Okay, so 'tis the season, right? He's already started his vegetable garden. A lot of people in Georgia are just starting to. Okay, what do we need to do in February? This is really more geared for Zone 8, all right?
Correct. Yeah.
So what do we need to do in Zone 8? It's February. What do we need to do to prepare the garden to ensure a successful spring and summer season? So a lot of these are pretty generic. So I'm going to go through. Obviously, clean up. Obviously, a soil test. Your local UGA Horticulture Extension will give you a guide, basically a guide on that. I know Surscape's going to do a
Yeah, we're
soil
gonna start
test
selling the soil
soon.
test kits.
That's
Amend the
cool.
soil. Your soil test is going to give you some recommendations. Use those amendments per instructions. Any other like tips? Like when you get those instructions, is there a kind of rule of thumb? Like, do you double it 50%,
I
or
mean,
just follow it to the T?
like chemical wise, yeah, you want to follow it. Like if it's telling you to add, this much.
4 pounds of 10, 10, 10.
Yeah, well, not necessarily 10, 10, 10, but if it's telling you to add minerals, so like, magnesium or anything like that, follow that to the T. But, if you want to do, like, I wouldn't necessarily add fertilizer yet, but I'd go ahead if you
Yeah.
want to, turn
Top
in
with
some compost.
yeah,
Or,
exactly.
yeah, compost would be great to add.
And we have minerals now.
Yeah, compost, worm castings, all the natural stuff. If you wanted to add in mushroom compost, anything like that, go ahead, put it on. I like to turn it in and then let it rest for a few weeks so all those little micronutrients can start breaking down and make the soil all yummy for everything.
That's some serious pre-planning, man. A couple of weeks. I'm
I
like,
try
well,
to
it's
do
time
it
to put
like-
something out in the garden. Compost. Plant.
Yeah, no, I mean, but it really is good to go ahead and do it like a month before you're going to plant. Like I did this in January as I was weeding my beds, which I still haven't even completed. I have 2 more beds to
Wow.
do. But
Look at you.
I like to let it rest because it just lets everything get going down there. And then you can plant your plants and it makes them really take off and do
Interesting.
good.
Interesting.
We're
Okay.
almost at time, but I think we need to put a pin in this whole idea
Yeah.
of the microbial warfare that goes on to create the nitrogen
Yep.
needed. I think we could almost do a whole
Yeah.
segment on that.
I'm going to listen like this during that segment.
Yeah.
So I will have nothing to add.
Great book. Just as a preview to that, Teaming with Microbes.
Okay.
Lowenfeld. It's a great book. Kind of talks about the whole. We might have to book club with that.
And I just ordered my plant calendar, the one I talked about earlier. I just
Yeah.
ordered mine for this year so I can start logging on my vegetable garden. So
You're so cool.
it's coming in tomorrow.
Yay.
Prune perennials. We already talked about pruning. Weed control. We talked about obviously.
Sir, he's on
Prepare
his
the tools.
resolutions.
We talked about that. Pest and disease prep. We talked a little bit about that. order your seeds and supplies.
That is key. Order those seeds before they run
Okay.
out.
But also, can somebody tell me? So I've tried to grow onions from seeds before, failed miserably because I think you're supposed to start them way in advance. And like we talked about, I have no sense of pre-planning. But I ordered onion sets this year. Why do they come in like a pack of 150? Like
'Cause
literally, like I'm not a farmer
Plant that
though.
onion, and that's your onion. You only get one.
Yeah, but I don't. Where am I going to grow 150 onions in my suburban backyard?
Plant them 4 inches apart in like a foot row. I mean, I have tons of onions, so
Do
'cause
you?
I have deer now, so I'm planting onions to try to keep the deer away.
Everywhere. Yeah, I was like, what am I? Where do these go? It would just be a whole
Save
onion
them,
garden.
probably just put them in a dark spot, plant half, and save the rest for the fall, so you get some later ones.
You could do that.
Yeah, it should last.
Should.
Okay. Should I know it's a strong amount of confidence.
You don't want to know how I get my bulbs, so we're not going to talk about that. But mine are usually always very old.
All right, good,
Okay.
good people. We are wrapping
We'll
this
end
up.
with Devin's old bulbs.
There we go, old bulbs.
Please let us know if you have a topic that you want to hear from the Plant Nerd podcast, what we should dive into. This, for the Don of the North Florida Garden, for the millennial makeover maven herself, Michelle, and Kata, we miss you. We will see you soon. Everybody, keep going and growing. Bye-bye.
Cheers.